Welcome to the System Simplified podcast, where we feature top leaders who share stories on how to successfully systemize a business. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hello, Adi Klevit here, the host of the System Simplified podcast, where I feature top founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders about systematizing a business. And today's episode is being brought to you by Business Success Consulting Group, where we create, document, optimize, and implement processes and procedures so businesses can grow and thrive. And today's guest is Jennifer Glass. Hi, Jennifer.
Hey, Adi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being a guest on the podcast. We just recorded an episode where I was a guest on your podcast, which was a great interview. You asked me
Thank you.
amazing questions about processes, so I appreciate that. And now it's your turn to shine. So we're going to talk about you, and you're going to share your wisdom with our listeners. So I'm very excited about that.
I thank you very much for the opportunity, and it was a great interview.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I'm going to now introduce you. So you are a multi-award winning business growth architect, international best-selling author, speaker, trainer, and TV show producer. That's incredible.
Thank
You're the
you.
CEO of Business Growth Strategies International, and you lead the only company that combines business growth coaching with innovative payment processing solutions, review management, marketing, web hosting, and design, all ultimately designed to boost the company's bottom line. So you basically have it all, it's because as we know, it's not one thing that will help a business grow. It has to be multiple aspects of it and all combined and working together. So you help small to medium-sized businesses uncover hidden revenue opportunities and capture the money they've been leaving on the table. You are the author of It's the Bottom Line That Matters series and other works that guide business toward financial success. So
Yes.
Jennifer, let's start first of all with your story. How did you get started?
So, coming out of school, I was intending on going to law school. That's where I was originally looking at going, and eventually into politics from there. But I realized pretty quickly that if I really wanted to be doing something for the better of folks, law was not necessarily the best way forward. And so I started in sales and marketing, and I was doing everything in those areas. At my first company, I even was at one point doing just about every single job in the company. I was one of the first 15 people in that company. We grew to over 1,500 people at the height, and it was an incredible experience. And all that allowed me to really be learning what I needed to be doing to help other people continue growing their businesses and what I would need to do to grow my own as well. So 20 years ago, I decided to go out on my own, started in the payment processing space. I was giving solutions. My clients came to me, hey, I got this from you. I need that. I got that. Now I need something else. Let's do something else. And everything kept on growing based on whatever my clients needed so that I can fulfill their need. Because I wanted to be that linchpin in the business in a good way that was holding everything together and allowing them to really see the growth that they needed. And from there, I then started having those opportunities to get even more and then started coaching them. And that allowed me then to put out books and then even become a TV producer and more.
That's amazing. So tell us about the TV producer. I'm interested in that. What did you produce?
So the name of the show is America's Real Deal. And for those of you that are familiar with Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, those are pretty big, well-known shows. And for those shows, you go in front of a judge who is going to determine are they going to invest in your business or not. On America's Real Deal, we've got our millionaires and our icons sitting in the studio with the businesses that are pitching, but we're also using the power of TV to pitch the American public. So you, as an individual, can invest in these pre-IPO'd businesses for as little as $100, and you can be taking a stake in their business. Think about what it would be like if you invested in an Uber before they became such a big company. With America's Real Deal, we allow you to do the exact same thing, and we are doing it through the power of TV to get that equity crowdfunding done. And we take the business public on the independent stock market to help them do all of that. And we go through all of the SEC filings and everything that's necessary to do that.
That's amazing.
Thank
Sounds
you.
very, so it's still running.
It is.
Okay, great. And you are producing it on a regular basis.
Yeah, the show, right now we are streaming on Roku. We're going on Tubi in December 2025. And additional platforms will continue to be available. And the next season is already looking at getting recorded as well.
It's fantastic.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the bottom line, right? But the bottom line that matters is what bottom line that matters. So, where do you see companies leaving money on the table?
So there's so many areas that businesses really don't pay attention to. One of the things that I see very often, and it doesn't matter if you're a big business, small business, when you've got a sales department, as an example, let's just go there for a second. A lot of businesses have a certain amount of automation in place to nurture prospects, but a lot of businesses don't, right? So one of the things that they'll do is they'll call, they'll try to reach somebody 2 or 3 times. They'll try and send an email once or twice. And then they're going to write them off because, they're not going to even bother. I can't reach them. But one of my mentors said, and it's so important if you think about it, leaving a voicemail and sending an email is not a contact, right? You need to actually speak with the person,
Right.
and then it's a contact. Too many of us, we just say, all right, I'm going to leave a message. How easy is it for us to, first of all, ignore messages, whether it's on our voicemail, from our business phones, or it's on our cell phone, or anything along those lines? And I don't know about you, even text messaging these days. I've got text messages that I hold on my cell phone because I need to get back to it. And so I don't open it. So that way I can look at it eventually. And then it just completely forgets because
Oh, I
life
had it yesterday.
happens.
I realized that, oh, I got a text message on, I thought I was the only one doing it, but I go, no, that person texted me on Monday and I left it there because I didn't have the time to answer it. And now it's Sunday and it got buried under another 30 text messages. And it looks like I completely was ignoring her, which was not the intent at all. It's just like,
Yes, life happens. That is exactly what I'm saying. And so if you don't actually speak with the person, it's not a contact.
no,
And
it's not.
so one of the biggest places where people are really leaving too much on the table is they're relying on automation in a way that's not creating a relationship, right? Business is about know, like, and trust and knowing what you actually do.
Yeah.
If you're not really connecting in a way that's going to make sense, you're leaving the money on the table. Another thing is a lot of businesses, big and small, really don't know how to properly create joint ventures and strategic partnerships that can be helping in what they're doing. So it really comes down to, all right, what do I need to know and how do I need to know how to do it in order to really be making that stand out in a way that is going to help?
That makes sense. That makes total sense. What other ways companies are leaving money on the table?
Sure. So again, if you don't have the right systems in place and you're not looking at, am I really understanding what my clients need? Am I asking them, what else are you looking for? Right? We are their trusted advisors. If you think about it in that regard, they already know us. They like us enough to be paying us to do a service or to be buying a product from us. If we don't ask them, what else can we possibly do for you? We're leaving so much on the table. And I'm not saying you have to create a new product or service. Think about it this way. And I'm going to use a landscaper as an example for a second here. And it may be smaller than some of the listeners out there, but you're going to get the idea exactly where I'm coming from. A
Mhm.
landscaper may only do cutting the grass and the bushes and stuff like that. But what if a landscaper, though, can turn around and they can say, I also can be a handyman. We also can do design. So not only outside design, we can even do inside design to match how the house looks outside. And all of these kinds of things. And there's so many other areas that they can be doing, but you can be partnering with other people. Again, go back to that joint venture strategic partnerships, right? You can be partnering with someone else to be providing these services that you then offer your clients. And you can earn a certain referral fee on all of those additional deals. Think about it. That landscaper, if they were to say we also do fencing, and we do things along those lines. Again, they're not doing the fencing themselves, but they've got a fencing company they work with. Can they now get on a typical fencing job, couple $1,000s? Can they get a couple $100 right there just for making that introduction? But again, if we don't ask, nobody's going to volunteer that that's what we're looking for. So there's so many areas that businesses are simply leaving money on the table because we don't think outside the stadium. I said outside the stadium. I have it as part of my marketing. We don't think outside the box, we think outside the stadium because that's when you really start making a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What is some advice to find good joint ventures like that?
So there's a couple of things that you first of all want to be doing. One is if you're looking at doing it just to increase the possible revenue in your business, where you're looking at offering additional products and services, find out again, like I said, what else your customers, your clients, your donors, your patients, whoever is giving you the money, what they're looking for. If they say that they're looking for something that makes obvious sense for you to team up with a third party, that is definitely going to be an opportunity where you can be doing that. If you're
Hmm.
looking at creating a joint venture or a strategic partnership with another person or entity in your industry or in a related area for you to be growing, again, that's a different story. And that would be simply understanding what are the expectations on both sides? What are your goals that you want to be getting? And how are both sides coming to the table? Who is going to be doing what? And how are you going to be nurturing that relationship back and forth to really make it work long term? I really boiled it down into very simplistic terms there. I have a whole guide that I can even give you as a gift that you can check out and be able to take advantage of, go through it, and really kind of learn more how to be able to do that in a way that is going to make sense for you.
That's amazing. So, if our listeners right now they want to reach out to you and get that checklist, and thank you for the generosity of offering it, how can they get a hold of you?
If they go to jenniferrglass.com, they will be able to fill out the really quick form on that page and get it. So again, that's jenniferrglass.com. And about 20 seconds or so is all it takes. Put in your name, your email, and boom, it's all yours.
Okay, and then start applying it right away. So, what inspired you to write your books?
So I realized pretty quickly that there's only so many people that I can reach individually. And
Hmm.
I am on a mission to help 10 million small businesses by 2040. And one of the ways that I know that books have the power to help with is reaching the masses. You put the book out, somebody's going to read it. And I even went a step further and I donated copies to my library system. And so in Bergen County, New Jersey, where I am, the library here is connected to I think it's like over 100 different libraries in Northern Jersey. So if you think about it, once it's in that system, now it can go all over in Northern Jersey. So it's not only even in Bergen County, there's other libraries outside of that too. And so think about whatever it is you're doing. How can you repurpose and reuse a lot of the stuff that you're doing too and make it even more available to people
Right,
that
it's
may
think
not
outside the
be even
stadium.
online?
I like it. It's just like it's that abundance and the reaching out and reaching out in quantities, which I think it's great.
Thank
Who
you.
should read your books?
Um, Anyone who is in business is really somebody that can benefit from reading the books. They do talk a lot about marketing. So if you're looking, first of all, starting a business, it's definitely going to be helpful. And if you are in marketing, sometimes you need to be even reminded about what it is that you're doing. A perfect story, I spoke to the American Marketing Association a couple of years ago. And when I was talking with the president as we were planning the presentation, she said, "You know what? I have to work with you." Now, you think a marketing person would really know marketing pretty well. But the truth is that we get so bogged down and we're wearing blinders in our own businesses. So we can see in front of us, but we can't see what's to the side. And sometimes you need somebody to come in and say, "Hey, remember this over here?" And again, for anyone that can't see me, it's over on the side where the blinders are blocking it. Because in our own business, we don't see what we don't see. As I say, the painter's house is always unpainted, right? Think about what that means. And sometimes just looking at the books can make a huge difference.
It totally does. And, it also brings a good point in terms of, you're a business growth architect. And you use the word architect probably on purpose, right? I mean, what does that mean that you are an architect of helping business grow?
Sure, and thank you. So think about if you're building a house. You can't just start putting up the walls and then it's a house, right? There's the foundation, there's the studs, there's everything that goes into what it is you're doing. As a business growth architect, I look at it in the exact same way. Because if I say, all right, we're going to put the walls up, we're going to put the roof up, and we're going to finish off the business that way, what's going to end up happening is there's not a foundation that's there to support the business, and then the business is going to ultimately end up collapsing. One of the worst things that I can do for my clients is have them implode because they can't grow when they're trying to grow. And so what I do is I really look at how do I lay all the foundational work and then continue building each piece on top of that. So we start with the foundation, we do the basement, we do the living room, the bedroom, the dining room, the kitchen, all of these different places in your business, however you look at it. And then that's how we continue to grow. So we look at your marketing, we look at your operations, your strategy, your sales, your financials, things along those lines. These are all the different pieces in your business. And then we continue improving on that in order to really give you the business that you want to have the life that you're looking for and that you love.
Absolutely. And you need that. You need that advice. You need that coaching, right? Because as you said, there are the blinders, and sometimes we get so much into the routine of what we're trying to do. So working with somebody like you can expand that viewpoint and showing how you can take a look at it outside the stadium. Not just like the game you are playing right now in the stadium, but what happens after that, and what about the next game and the next game and other games around. So I do like that analogy very much.
Thank you. And exactly, yes, thank you.
So Jennifer, if our listeners, we already said that they can go to jenniferrglass.com and they can get the checklist. They can also get a hold of you if they would like to buy one of your books. How can they do that?
My books are on Amazon and a couple of other places. They can definitely check it out there. And if they want to reach out again, jenniferrglass.com would be where they can get that JV guide. And if they wanted to connect with me otherwise, I am on LinkedIn, Jennifer R. Glass, and my company website, bgsicoaching.com.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for being a guest on my podcast now. And thank you for the great conversation and sharing all this knowledge.
I appreciate you, Adi, and I appreciate all of your listeners. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the System Simplified podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.